love but never hate. And when you've got the love, don't ever let go. 'Cause you're born to live, but sometimes you gotta leave and let go. And even though new comes along, I can't forget that you were gone. And everything seems so real without you to feel beside me. But now I am so sure you are no more to me. You'll always be. And we're up on this earth, and we have our faith. A faith may lead us to someone who we love but never hate. And when you've got the love, don't ever let go. 'Cause you're born to live, but sometimes you gotta leave and let go. But sometimes you gotta leave and let go. But sometimes you gotta leave and let go. Thank you, everyone. This next one's my newest single, and it's called Smoke. You say it takes time to say what you need. You say it takes time for you to clearly see, but it's no time for you to jump right in a situation where no one really wins. You're killing yourself with your bad habits. We all know you're not the type to quit. Suffocating your soul, you're trapped in the smoke. Just so you can be the first of your mates to take off the girl's clothes. Then all the white starts spilling out. The screams and shouts lost in the crowd. You brush it off to watch her cry, knowing you are the one who's killed her mind. You're killing yourself with your bad habits. We all know you're not the type to quit. Suffocating your soul, you're trapped in the smoke. We all know you're the type to tell her she's your whole world, just so you can be the first of your mates to take off a girl's clothes. Done to you, the pain you put her through, it's come between the two. It's all done to you, the pain you put her through, it's come between the two. You're killing yourself with your bad habits. We all know you're not suffocating your soul while you're trapped in the smoke. We all know you're the type to tell her she's your whole world, just so you can be the first of your mates today. I feel those blows. Killing yourself with your bad habits. We all know you're not the type to quit, suffocating your soul while you're trapped in the smoke. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day.
You're either interested in life and what it means to be human, or you're not. And the arts is the way that we do it, I think. It moves us, it thrills us.
You know, not everybody kind of understands or learns about the world in a single way. I think that's what the arts do. I think they kind of give you another vehicle to then either understand yourself or understand the world or understand your neighbor. And it brings you closer to what sometimes can feel so far away from you.
For me, it's kind of like, it releases just everything what's in here, and it just goes, then it's out of me and it's out there.
I think arts is most powerful when it isn't art and when it doesn't feel like art and when it isn't anything associated with the word art, because the word art has so much baggage with the people that feel that they're not capable of art. So I think the actual moment of art is when you are magically moved.
We all have this inherent creativity and art within us. So I think when people say art is not for them, I like to challenge that, and I like to find a way to really expose that, because fundamentally we're all artists.
Everybody has creativity, and it's just a question of finding what the channel for that is.
All you've got is your authenticity. You've got your viewpoint, you've got your experiences you lived. You hope that there's some sort of fragment in the way that you viewed the world. That's what we're all trying to do, is just capture this small moment of how we viewed the world at that point in time, and hopefully there's something in it that someone either finds completely absurd and challenging to their own humanity, or something that someone relates to which they can then relay into their own experiences.
We shouldn't try to provide the answer to everything, and I think in some ways actually allowing people to define art for themselves, allowing people to take a bit of curatorial control, and just giving permission for amazing things to happen.
Great art can connect you to the place that you're in. It can make you transform the way you view the world, and can bring you, I think, essentially would bring you closer to what I can only describe as humanity, a deeper understanding of humanity in all its complexity.
It's never perfect. And I think sometimes you can get lost in that quest for perfection.
Art is better out than in. If it remains in, we don't speak to each other, so it's being expressed and understood. It's another form of conversation.
I think cities are like people. If you are neglected or overlooked, underestimated, and yet you know that you have this incredible history, you've got all these talents, you need to find some way of breaking through people's perceptions and making something happen where people reassess.
Art has the power to help us to tackle some of the very basic problems. We know that there's a lot of social inequality, lots of isolation.
I used to find it really difficult to talk about Tourette's without tears. Biscuit. And then I had a conversation with Biscuit, my friend Matthew, who describes Biscuit, my tics, as a crazy language generating machine, and told me that not doing something creative with them was wasteful. Biscuit, and this idea took root.
Maybe it's that hunger, I guess. Maybe it's that thing that you just can't seem to turn off.
And it's a risk. You're taking a risk, you know, you're taking a risk. Okay, I think this is going to work.
The thrill in the unknown, and I don't know what to do. I'm in this kind of no man's land of fear.
There's no right or wrong way to do it, anybody can do it.
It's having that reason to be alive.
Art has that ability to make somebody think differently about their world.
Every shared laugh or conversation or piece of artwork has the potential to create change.
As the world evolves, as politics evolves, as relationships evolve, as climates change, as everything in this world is all orbiting around or fluctuating, there's never going to be this moment of stillness. Its impact on people and its impact on the city is something to be analysed and understood. If this isn't arts and culture, what is?
It's about us not telling the community what, well, this is art. It's the other way around. They tell us what art is, and art for them means many, many, many different things. Culture means many, many different things. And they tell us what art is, and art for them means many, many, many different things. Culture means many, many different things.
Good morning, everybody. I am Rosie Millard, Chair of the Board of Hull 2017, and I would like to welcome you to the launch of Season 4, Tell the World. A launch that in possibly our most daring act of the year, we have chosen to hold outside in the fabulous new stage at the dock, built by a brilliant partner, Whiteland, and operated by the Freedom Trust. It's great to see so many of our partners, friends, colleagues, and our brilliant volunteers here this morning. And I'd also like to give a warm welcome to the hundreds of volunteers watching this live in City Hall. Way! And those joining us on the web, courtesy of the wonderful BBC, and also to listeners of the Burnsy Show, woo, who join us live this morning. And I think Burnsy is just up there. He's in the neighbourhood anyway, he's very close by, but broadcasting right across the region. I'd like to thank Hull's own Yasmin Coe for opening our event this morning with two beautiful songs. Yasmin, you are a star, and you remind us of the amazing talent the city has and is producing, of which much more later. Also, this beautiful film that some of you may remember called Art Will Bring Us Together, that we made to launch our entire year and Season 1 almost a year ago. Can you believe it? September the 22nd. It's gone so fast. At that time, we hoped it was an ambitious and groundbreaking programme, but there wasn't a person involved in the organisation that wasn't racked with nerves. Would it work? Would anyone come? We stood on the shoulders of a brilliant winning bid, but would art indeed bring us together? Well, ultimately, you will make up your own minds, but for me, and judging by the size of audiences and acclaim, for many people it's a resounding yes. 8 months in, and with 4 glorious months to go, this year has surpassed all our hopes and dreams. What we absolutely know now is that the achievement, which is colossal, has been a collective act. Hull City Council, our 80 partners, the volunteers, the schools, the young people, communities across the city. The list goes on and on. This morning is a celebration of that because, well, why not? But importantly, the launch of our brilliant Season 4, where we continue to tell the world about this great city that we love so much and its year of change. We've got some great performances for you today, as well as the detail of the programme. But first, to give his personal perspective of the year so far, please welcome the leader of Hull City Council, Councillor Stephen Brady.
Well, another warm and sunny day in Hull. It's getting to be a habit. And every time we seem to have a gathering or an event, the weather seems to turn good. Something's working for us. Thank you, Rosie, and good morning, everyone. I know that you're eagerly anticipating Martin's announcement about what we've got to look forward to in season 4. But I would like to take just a few minutes to reflect on what being UK City of Culture has already meant to Hull. I think we'd all agree that 2017 has quite simply exceeded all expectations. Just yesterday, we welcomed our 1 millionth visitor into our museums and galleries. We know that 9 out of 10 residents have already taken part in every corner of the city. Our amazing volunteers has given residents and visitors alike a fantastic welcome. And being the UK City of Culture has given us a platform from which we've been able to tell the world what we always knew, that Hull is a great place to live, learn, visit and invest. From the very beginning of City of Culture, it was part of a bigger plan to improve the lives and opportunities for local people and to put Hull back on the map as one of the great northern cities. Our ambition was to be one of the best cities of culture there has ever been, and we wanted to use the City of Culture to change the city forever. We wanted to create jobs and opportunities for local people. We wanted to celebrate and promote the city's unique heritage and culture, and we wanted to use culture as a catalyst for regeneration and investment. 8 months in, and we can see quite clearly that our hopes and ambitions are being realised. Since we bid in 2013, we've seen investments worth more than £3 billion flowing into the city, and Hull is now the fastest growing economy in Yorkshire. Over 500 jobs have been created in the city centre, and we've seen an 83% upturn in the evening economy. Our cultural programme, brought together by our world-class City of Culture team and all their creative partners and funders, have been absolutely outstanding. Our cultural venues have been transformed, and in just a couple of weeks we'll see the reopening of the refurbished Hull New Theatre with a special performance by the Royal Ballet. But as we look forward to season 4, it's important to remember that we don't hand over the City of Culture baton till 2020. Plenty of work to do. This means that we have got a lot to look forward to and a lot of work to do to ensure that the City of Culture status leaves a long-lasting legacy in this city. We've been working on the city's legacy plan since the day we won the bid in 2013, and over the next few months we'll be letting you know more about the next steps and how everyone in the city can get involved. As with all preparation and planning for this year's legacy will require a huge collective effort, and we'll need support from everyone in the city to ensure that Hull continues to flourish as a great cultural city in the decades to come. I believe we are very well placed to do that. The way we have come together has undoubtedly been at the heart of Hull's 2017 success so far. What we've unleashed this year has been truly outstanding. From the local residents, volunteers, businesses who have been so inspired by what we've brought into their streets, venues, communities and lives, to the artists, producers, performers and funders who made it all happen, and to the visitors who are embracing our city for what it has been, what it is and what it's becoming. I hope you'll all stay with us as we continue on this very exciting journey, and as we look forward to another spectacular season of events taking us into 2018 and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Brady. And as ever, I do not want to miss the opportunity to thank you and your brilliant team for their extraordinary vision and commitment to 2017 and what follows. Now, the timing of our announcement today is, of course, brilliantly planned and organised, because it's been organised by Martin, falling as it does on the first day of this year's Freedom Festival, which over the past decade has delighted hundreds of thousands of audiences with daring and diverse work, celebrating freedom, that most important thing, in all its forms. So to take us through what lies in store for us this weekend, please welcome the brilliant artistic director of the Freedom Festival, Mikey Martins.
I'm going to put a timer on. Those of you who know me when I do my speeches, you understand why. Thank you very much, Rosie and the team, for inviting me to speak today. Yes, it's the beginning of Freedom Festival. Some of you would have been with us last night at the Counting Sheep Revolution in Queen's Gardens. We opened a preview show last night, which was a wonderful, wonderful experience, and great to see things coming to life. This next few days are going to be extraordinary. For those of you who don't know the Freedom Festival, this is the 10th anniversary of the event. It began as a commemoration of the great work that William Wilberforce and the abolitionist movement did towards the Anti-Slavery Act, and we continue to explore those themes of freedom and what that means today. I think we really see that in the programme this year, and I'll come back to that. I think it's been extraordinary. The last year, the last 8 months, 9 months, seeing what's happened to the city, the 2017 programme, I know for me has been an absolute pleasure. I've got to see some extraordinary work, from a circus in a graveyard to amazing orchestral work to incredible Nordic music festival and a whole gamut of things in between. It's been amazing. And I think as a festival director, what's been really exciting for me and for us with the whole team is seeing how audiences have been engaging with all that range of work. So I now know we can now move forward very confidently and really push that programme. Do more weird stuff, maybe not just in graveyards, but do more work in strange locations, really push the art, because I know for an absolute fact now, the audiences in Hull and beyond and the visitors, that's what we want. We want that. So that's an exciting place to be. Transformation. We've seen it in the public realm work that the City Council have invested in so well, and all the partnerships with developers. This incredible stage here, all the work in the city centre, and this year the festival will really use those areas. You'll see the festival spread out across the centre, engaged with Trinity Square, Queen Vic Square, front of the old BHS building. All of those new, recently refurbished spaces will come to life with some extraordinary outdoor performance, from contemporary dance to circus, to dancing potatoes, to giraffes, to a whole range of incredible work. And throughout that programme, throughout that is an investigation into freedom. It's important, more and more. We spoke in the film, many people have a very similar sense to me about this, is we are all inherently artists, we are all inherently associated to what goes on around us, and I think artists can change and affect that narrative. I think at the moment, the times we're living through in terms of freedom, we need to talk about it. And this year within the programme, we've got a lot of work which actually, it really gives you an opportunity to sit down and talk and discuss what freedom really means with artists, with activists, with incredible politicians and cultural leaders. We've got an extraordinary event happening on Saturday morning, welcoming Kofi Annan to the city to deliver the Wilberforce lecture. And I think that, as well as being a wonderful part of the weekend, I think that partnership with the city, with Kofi Annan, with the Wilberforce Trust, and with an arts festival, it really pays testament to where we are now in terms of this linking together. And then we really get a sense of conversation. In the streets on Prince's Dock Street, you'll see a kind of fake terrace. You might wander over, you might be asked to have a conversation with a stranger over a bowl of soup. There'll be a menu of conversations which have been devised with people from the city. You'll get a bowl of soup each, and the conversation will last as long as the bowl of soup. Might be quite quick for some people, might go on for hours. these kind of events are really important this year, and I think do look out for those things slightly to the left and right of what you'd expect. The outdoor programme at night, the spectacles which we come to expect, we've got an amazing world-class range of work happening in the evenings all across the city. So pick up the programme. I can't talk about every part because there's over 200 performances happening in 3 days. And that would take a long time. So I'll move quickly on. The city, how do we move forward? What happens next? There's such a wonderful confidence here now and such a great relationship between people like myself who make the festivals, the whole Truck Theatre, all the cultural operators in the city, people like yourselves who've given up so much time to volunteer and support this incredible programme, and the audiences. So if that's a position we move on from, I think we're in a really good place. And I think after this year, after this incredible next season that's happening, Hull is absolutely one of a world-class destination for arts and culture, a city to live in, a city to work in. We're proving that. We'll continue to prove that. And after this fantastic year, it will just carry on. So I look forward to seeing you at the weekend. Pick up the programme. If you're brave, sign up for a haircut by children. Thank you.
Thanks, Mikey. I want a haircut and a bowl of soup. Thanks, Mikey, and the whole Freedom team. The festival remains one of the jewels in the crown of the city, and all of us in the Culture Company are so proud to be a funder and supporter of it. Now, it was important to me and my brilliant board of trustees, who I do want to thank. They've put in the hours over the years, and they're wonderful, that we ensured today was not only about our headline-grabbing events, but also celebrated what I believe to be at the absolute core of this year. The important work that we've been doing in communities across the city, the important work that the volunteers have been doing, the whole volunteer experience, and of course the work that we've done to engage every single child and young person in Hull. That is at the core of 2017. So to tell us more about that, please welcome our Director of Public Engagement and Legacy, the extraordinary Phil Batty.
The journey to become UK City of Culture started with a really simple vision. Unite a great city and tell the world. It was the strapline on the cover of the bid book, and now as we enter our 4th season, it remains fundamental to what this project stands for. The film, Art Will Bring Us Together, reminds us that the union of communities and artists creating, experiencing and enjoying incredible culture is the true purpose of 2017. The year so far has been full of mind-blowing events, exhibitions and more that have inspired audiences from across the city and beyond. However, not all of our work has been on public display, and I wanted to take the opportunity today to share some of the magical stories from engagement projects that have taken place in neighbourhoods throughout the city this year. And what better way to start than with our youngest of residents? This time last year, a new school term was about to begin, and over 55,000 young people were making that transition from 6 weeks of glorious sun into that ever so daunting back-to-school mindset. Little did they know that what was about to be unleashed in the classrooms and corridors was No Limits, the Hull 2017 Learning and Participation Programme. And when we set out to plan our engagement with children and young people, we drew upon the spirit of Hull, its rich history of innovators, radical thinkers and creators, working with talented and creative teachers from across the city to bring together artists and schools, imagining a year full of projects that would use culture to generate a new population of thinkers and thinking in Hull. From year-long residencies to one-off artistic interventions, the academic school year 2016-17 has been a melting pot of creativity. With 101 schools, there are simply too many projects to name, but I wanted to share a few that I feel have been particularly transformational for children and young people. The first of which is called Pipe Dreams. A local artist, Dom Heffer, took residency at 3 of the newest primary school builds in the city, Endyke and Wold Academy and Ainthorpe Primary. The project responds to the idea of Look Up, whilst working creatively with pupils to explore how moving to new buildings makes them feel. The result of the residency was a series of large-scale striking artworks that used pipes to transport the ambitions and ideas of young people throughout their school buildings. Another project, Twinned, saw art collective Seaswim work in partnership with Global Learning to imagine what could happen if voices were to carry across the sea between Freetown in Sierra Leone and Hull. Pupils explored in schools from both areas sounds, experiences, similarities and differences of their place and culture. And the resulting exhibition, 2,778 nautical miles, brought together the combined work from pupils in Freetown in Sierra Leone and Hull before going on tour across the city. The themes, events and content of Hull 2017's artistic programme have inspired and stimulated opportunities in schools that just may not have been possible in any ordinary year. Throughout 2017, artists and arts organisations working to stage UK City of Culture have taken root in our schools, shaping ideas and further developing their creative projects. This has ranged from the composers devising work for the PRS Foundation New Music Biennial to the genius minds of Blast Theory, exploring with young people and old alike what the world might be like in 2097, but more of that later. With such a varied 365-day programme, it's been incredibly important to present the space for young people to explore concepts and ideas presented by key Hull 2017 events. Arts organisation One Day Creative took on this challenge by devising a series of day-long workshops that responded to themes of equality, diversity and identity that would be presented in festivals such as LGBT 50 and Women of the World. Responding to settings and environments has been essential in creating projects that have the potential to impact on the lives of a young person. Made in Oakfield was a week-long residency that saw pupils over the course of 7 days work with design duo Matt and Fee to plan and physically build a new outdoor den in their school allotment. With pivoting walls and green rubber coating, this 5-metre tall timber structure is a permanent example of how the creativity of 2017 has been realised in our learning institutions. From the National Saturday Art and Design Club to the First Story residencies, our Family Academy and Hello Hull, the termly magazine that goes to pupils aged 5 to 11 each season, there are just too many to mention. So the final project I want to highlight from No Limits is possibly one of our most ambitious. In late 2016, we were approached by Macmillan Nursery School and the early years team with a simple but quite monumental idea. What if you took the material on which this city was built, clay, and support every single 5-year-old in the city and under to create a work of art of their own? And so the 16,000 was born. For months, nurseries across the whole city have taken 16 tonnes of clay bricks, enough to build 5 houses, and given young people the freedom to express themselves creatively with that material. Currently being fired in a kiln, this enormous collection of individual artworks will be brought together in an installation this October in Hull's historic fruit market. And looking forward to the school term ahead, about to start in a few days' time, I know there are many more exciting projects planned for the months and years coming forward. But schools and classrooms remain just the tip of an iceberg for a year set out to bring together an entire city. With 9 in 10 residents having attended at least one event, exhibition or cultural activity in the first part of the year, we know audiences are experiencing a world-class programme. However, the next chapter in their cultural journey is how we build on those initial moments of wonder and turn them into active and sustained participation. One such initiative setting out to do this is Challenge Hull, an opportunity every Monday for a different community organisation to set a challenge for 15 minutes of conversational creativity. This has been an opportunity to celebrate in creative acts across the city different organisations and the contribution they play to city life. The spirit and enthusiasm of these companies and communities knows no bounds. Over 150 organisations have utilised the community brand to engage residents in our year, from the Hull Homeless Project to the Rainbow Community Garden in Orchard Park. The neighbourhood champions of this city have risen to the challenge and are making the most of this UK City of Culture title. The people that really bring to life this pride and spirit, in a way that's almost impossible to describe, are of course our volunteers. Nearly 3,000 individuals who day in, day out, give their time freely to welcome, inform, entertain and inspire the visitors and residents of Hull. They are the stars of the show, representing every street and every community of this city, standing proud in that unmissable scandalous blue uniform, that they've become the beating heart of our celebrations. And we found out this morning that over 50,000 shifts of volunteering have taken place, contributing 200,000 hours of volunteer time to the city so far, which I'm sure you'll agree, now is the time to thank them for that fabulous contribution. Which brings us back to today, as we look forward in excitement and anticipation to our 4th epic season in the story of this year. We can feel increasingly confident that Hull has delivered something unique, a collective act of celebration, a year that communities and residents can remember proudly as 365 days where this city belonged to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Phil. I feel quite overwhelmed. Now we have a very, very special guest this morning in the form of writer, performance poet, singer and radical arts educator, Zena Edwards. A multidisciplinary collaborator, Zena has worked with the likes of choreographer and dancer Akram Khan, visual artist Theaster Gates, radical filmmaker Fahim Alam, saxophonist and historian Soweto Kinch, and the Last Poets. Zena's writing for performance explores the creative voice immersed in issues, exploring collective and personal revolution in the midst of social injustice and all its intersections. Zena will be performing in Hull at the end of September as part of the BBC's Contained Strong Language Festival, of which more later. But for now, this morning, she's performing her poem, Security. Please welcome the brilliant Zena Edwards.
Good morning. Oh, it's lovely to hear your voices. So I'll start off by saying that this poem is about love and how you make and meet love in cities like Hull, but also like a city like London, mad, crazy metropolises. How do you fall in love? Does anybody in here believe in love at first sight? Oh, just a few. Did anybody get any Valentine cards this year? Oh, just a few. We need to start giving more. Yeah, more Valentine's cards, they'll come back. Anyway, so this poem song is dedicated to that waltz, that dance that you do when you finally find somebody. I'm going to set the scene. And when you finally meet somebody, there's a little dance, a backwards and forwards thing that you do. Should I call them tomorrow? No, that's too keen. I'll call them next week. Maybe they'll be marrying somebody else by then. You know, so anyway, here we go. There's a river running under fields of green, under fields of dreams, fields of dreams. There's a river running under fields of green, washing the pain away. There's a black crow sitting on a tower block, high on a tower block, upon a tower block. Yes, there's a black crow sitting on a tower block, waiting to fly again. Well, there's a satellite reading all the people's minds, all the people's minds, the people's minds. Yes, there's a satellite reading all the people's minds, waiting for its time, my friends, waiting for its time. But this blink in time takes place in the heart of a town that persistently beats. This city's underbelly is sensationalized on the telly. We can see the politicians feeling the heat, and CCTV is the security keeping the major network sweet. Hear the stream, the scuff of feet of human meat over rough concrete, and how the gutters moan and groan. They mutter bittersweet tones of triumph and defeat, and sirens and roadworks complete the discordant orchestral suite. But when you listen, I mean really listen. Beyond the static of Big Brother, beyond the metropolis headlines, you can hear the mumble of troubled minds tumble onto the streets in beeps and clips and beeps and peeps and cleeps and glitches and beeps and glitches like some kind of free jazz. Beeps and clicks and beeps and glitches and beeps and glitches and beep, 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 SOS, SOS, SOS. And it's a peculiar thing when fate decides to turn the tide for worlds to collide. The stage is fraught when life gets caught in destiny's net and people are compelled to connect. And London is the universe where the fates of different breeds, of stories grown from human seed that you see entwine, unwind with the unfolding of time, for time alone has the monopoly over the occurrences of tragedy or comedy, of everyday stories revealed through the joy and pain moving through all our veins, looped around these delicate skeletal frames, cocooned in these sleeves of skin. So let us begin. Chapter 1 meets his eyes, her eyes, and worlds collide. Chapter 2, hormones, they tangle, they sparkle, they spangle, they make love at all angles. Open, wide landslide, down this abyss to bliss. They chant their love business, in song can't be wrong for this long. It's been 3 weeks. So is this love? Oh, this love, baby. 'Cause it's so sweet when pairs of eyes meet. It's a blue sky, cloudless like silence is loudness. Some feeling needed and heeded like hunger for cooked food. Man, where did you come from? Chapter 3. She's strong, he's strong. Bound tight, sounds right, this love act. First sight, this newness is fearless, such nearness, they're naked and touching what's sacred, but she woman and he man. Mars and Venus, uterus and penis, rule head and heart different, yet both claim genius. Rocks thrown at glass houses, rough tones in loud voices, love damned, door slammed, your bull crap for power, love argues for hours, or violence in silence like sliced ice defiance. Emotions, such turbulent oceans. Chapter 4. Rejected, dejected, distance, distance. These love-worn hearts call out to each other with persistence. SOS, in distress, running round and round and round like chickens that are headless. But this mess is blessed, though, just complex like chess. So, when they meet, his eyes, her eyes, both hungry inside to heal, to seal a deal, to speak and feel what's real. Chapter 5. The truth sighs, a sunrise. Chapter 6. Honesty. Honesty seasons reason, like winds reason seasons to heart song, so hold on. Hold on, not long now. Know that it's fact that strong love is hard work. But a strong tree loves hard the earth. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Zena, for that inspiring performance. Contained Strong Language is one of our flagship projects with the BBC, and on that basis, I hope you'll all agree it's not to be missed. Hi, everyone. Season 4, or as we call it, how did that happen? My name is Martin Green. I'm the director of Hull City of Culture 2017, and I too would like to welcome you all, our fabulous volunteers live at City Hall, our online web stream audience, and those joining on the BBC Humberside Bernsey show. Welcome to our 4th season in this, our first year as the UK City of Culture. By any measure, it's been a revelatory time for the city, and we want this last season to propel us into the years ahead. We started 2017 by celebrating the historic stories of this city, and we want to end it by discovering the new. The season also underlines that not only have we celebrated Hull, we've also staged the UK's first cultural quadrennial, and as such, this season features some of our most celebrated contemporary artists making urgent and world-class work. The Royal Ballet, Maxine Peake, who we'll hear from later, Blast Theory, Marshmallow Laser Feast, Martin Parr, Slung Low, James Graham, Tanika Gupta, Rhys Shearsmith, and the nominees of the Turner Prize, to name just a few, and many of whom join us today. Ambitious in its outlook with a strong focus on technology, the work asks us to discover new stories, exercise our newfound voices, one of them's doing that right now, and to ask big questions. In the case of one of our biggest artistic commissions, perhaps the biggest question of all, where do we go from here? As Councillor Brady reminded us, we still hold the title until 2020. Future years will not be like this one. It will always be special, but we have a firm plan in place to take us through not just the next 3 years, but the next 20. We're choosing to launch our full legacy plan at the end of September because I didn't want it to overshadow Tell the World. We have 4 months to go in 2017, and it's important that we enjoy ourselves in these next few months and live in them as we consider the future. The season officially starts in October, but it's worth talking about something that opens next week and is truly deserving of our attention.
광주, 목포, 춘천, 청주, 천안 등 대학이 존재하는 거의 모든 도시가 학생운동에 열기에 휩싸였다. 학생들은 비상계엄 해제와 전두환 퇴진, 언론 자유 보장 등을 외쳤다.
To an underground abattoir in Clerkenwell, DreamThink Speak are masters of creating unforgettable experiences in found spaces. To round off our Freedom season, One Day Maybe is inspired by the May 1980 democratic uprising in Gwangju, South Korea, which paved the way for democratic rule. Shining a light on this particular point in history, it is largely set in the present day and looks at the modern world we all inhabit from the perspective of May 1980. The production centres on a UK launch of a Korean global technology company, and for each performance the company will throw open its doors to the general public, who will be allowed to explore private areas and offices as well as laboratories where they will test and participate in the technologies that are being developed, including gaming experiences and navigation apps. As the audience is drawn deeper into this labyrinthine technological world, they find themselves slipping between past, present and future, tumbling back in the aftermath of May 1980 before stumbling forwards towards a bright but uncertain future. Opening tomorrow and running throughout September, it promises to be unmissable, and I guarantee you, you will never have experienced anything like it before. I want to start the Season 4 programme proper by talking about the projects we in the team are arguably most proud of, our community projects, particularly the Creative Communities programme, Land of Green Ginger and Back to Ours programmes. Our Creative Communities programme funded 60 community-led arts projects across the city. I'm pleased to say that the amazing I Wish to Communicate With You that has seen the Thornton estate light up its buildings and engage the residents who live in them is to be rolled out to more estates and buildings across the city. The Creative Communities programme so far has seen 21 exhibitions, 17 festivals, 15 performances, 11 installations and 197 workshops, with audiences totalling over 80,000 and with 10,000 participants so far. We have 59 workshops still to deliver and 8 projects still to start. And here are just a few of the highlights of next season. Following a sellout performance of Senses of the Sea in March, local charity Five Senses returns with Slave to the Senses at Hull Museum's Quarter in September, and We Are Five Senses at the Freedom Centre in November, completing the Culture of Five, Hull's Alive trilogy. Working with professional local artists, the project showcases the talents of adults with learning disabilities. Over the last 6 months, Hull and East Riding Institute for the Blind, a Sight to Behold project, has been developing a multi-sensory sculpture with the aim to build a unique legacy for the city while promoting art as a medium for all. A partnership of organisations, communities, groups and visually impaired individuals have been working together to create the new installation, which will be displayed in the Eye Hospital on Allenby Road from 11th of October. The sculpture will be accessible to the thousands of visitors who pass through the hospital every week. The Hull Beer Mat Photography Festival, which turns traditional exhibition style on its head, will launch next month with a series of workshops ranging from smartphone photography to travel photography. People will be encouraged to share their images of Hull through Instagram, Twitter and on Facebook in November. And in November, world-renowned photographer Martin Parr will choose a selection of images to be printed on beer mats in pubs, clubs and venues across the city for the end-of-year exhibition. For A Song for Hull, G4 frontman Jonathan Ansell, rapper 90s Boys and Britain's Got Talent semi-finalist The Garnett Family perform with local hospital staff and primary school children in a stunning musical celebration of the city's talent and ambition. A collaboration between Hull Children's University, Hull and East Riding NHS Trust and the HPSS Events Associated Limited.
Welcome to the land of green ginger, a place of mystery and intrigue. Let your mind soar. Dare to dream the unimaginable. Step into the land of green ginger. One's an alley made of myth. Two's a nose that doesn't sniff. 3, a beacon fueling hope. 4 will take your chirps and croaks. 5's your world in miniature. 6 brings dreams in great stature. 1 more act and then we're done. Await the treasure bound to come.
So far has been the groundbreaking project Land of Green Ginger, taking the form of a series of acts of wanton wonder under one united central narrative. These new artist commissions have infiltrated the neighbourhoods of the city and encouraged the residents of Hull to immerse themselves in a magical citywide story. It began with the rumour of a treasure trove of packing crates found underneath the city, all stamped with the words "To Hull from Land of Green Ginger." As the crates were opened, a series of wonderful acts were unleashed. Act 1 took place in May when Periplum reimagined the East Hull myth of 7 alleys. Over 4 nights, crowds gathered in East Park for a breathtaking spectacle filled with poetry, drama, firelight, horses, and a communal quest to conquer the 6 real alleys to open the portal into the legendary 7th. For Act 2, Joshua Safaya created a myth for Bransholme in the form of the gold nose of green ginger, an artifact of great potency. Over 9 weeks, local people visited the Gold Nose in residence at the North Point Shopping Centre, where they could make a wish, learn the nose flute, hear a story, but most importantly, quietly remember that they were part of a community which was left invigorated, valued, and listened to by this disarming project. Act 3 was the Long Hill Burn, created by And Now, who gathered the residents of the estate to a beautiful, celebratory, sculptural bonfire fueled by answers to the question, what gives you hope? These three first acts have seen a combined audience of nearly 40,000 people and had a significant impact in engaging the harder to reach residents and those from the most deprived areas. Furthermore, they have been shown to have successfully connected communities, inspired imagination and delivered delight. The anecdotes of the transformational effects of these projects are abundant, and we look forward to more with 3 acts still to come. A voice park by a swarm, where the gathered and distilled power of Hull's voice will be palpably on display, an intricate installation from Davy and Kirsten McGuire, with a host of cameo performances from local characters, and what promises to be a spectacular culmination in November from Galway-based masters of processional performance, Mockness. Catch up with the story so far at greenginger.org and look out for one final secret, a coda to this story, which we'll be keeping up our sleeves until 2018. Shopping centres, school theatres and gymnasiums and the glorious backroom club of the William Gimble pub will be bursting to life once more with the 3rd edition of our half-time holiday festival Back to Ours. The first set of shows for October went on sale earlier this week. Sean Ryder's Black Grape will be playing at North Point Shopping Centre, performing tracks from their first new album in 20 years, whilst Drip, a one-man musical comedy by Tom Wells about a boy who signs up for Hull's first ever synchronised swimming team, despite being unable to swim, will be performed at 3 schools across the city. Upswing Aerial is one example of an arts company which has truly embraced our challenge to deliver against 3 key areas: performance, residency and legacy. For Back to Ours, they'll be bringing bedtime stories, a family fable told with acrobatics and projections to an audience who are tucked up in bed. As well as this performance, they will also be delivering an innovative engagement project in 6 of the city's care homes. All this has ensured true engagement across the city, and I very much hope where Hull leads, other cities will follow. Theatre, in all its form, plays a central role in season 4, and as ever, they do so with groundbreaking world premieres. I must take a moment here to congratulate the 5 companies who have just taken the Edinburgh Fringe by storm. Middle Child's All We Ever Wanted Was Everything by Luke Barnes has won the company their 2nd Bobby Award and the Stage Edinburgh Award for Mark Graham's electrifying performance. Silent Uproars, a super happy story about feeling sad by John Britton, has won a Fringe First Award, the Kevin Spacey Foundation Artist of Choice Award for Musical Theatre, and Musical Theatre's Review Award for Best Musical, as well as being nominated for the Holden Street Theatres Award and the first ever Mental Health Fringe Award. Middle Child, Silent Uproar and Curious Directive, Norwich-based company touring their Hull 2017 commission, have all been selected for the British Council Showcase. Bellow Theatre's Bare Skin on Briny Waters by Maureen Lennon and Tabitha Mortiboy picked up commendations for acting and writing in the Sunday Times National Student Drama Festival of Edinburgh Awards. 3 of the 5 shows sold out every single day. They received a slew of 4- and 5-star awards. For example, Edinburgh Guide's 5-star review of Pub Corner Poets' performance of Sad Little Man, written by Joss Overton, which they described as incredibly brave and deeply moving. Hull is entering a new era as a city that makes great theatre, starting with Middle Child becoming our 5th Arts Council National Portfolio organisation, meaning they are funded to make work in and from this city for the next 5 years. Slung Low's year-long epic Flood by James Phillips reaches its climax in season 4 with part 4, New World. The wave has struck. The world as we know it has ended. Can the shattered survivors of the flood build a new world? You can still see parts 1 and 3 online, and in the 2nd week of its run, parts 2 and 4 will be performed together so you can experience the entire groundbreaking epic, and tickets are on sale right now. Hull Truck continues its year of diverse and urgent theatre. A short history of tractors in Ukrainian Adapted by Tanika Gupta from the best-selling novel by Marina Levitska and directed by Hull Truck's brilliant artistic director Mark Babbage, is a piece of ensemble storytelling, a modern family drama and a must-see piece of new theatre. In January, I'm delighted to announce that Hull Truck are working with the University of Hull alumnus playwright James Graham, possibly the hottest writing property in the country right now, to create a new comedy that goes behind the scenes of Hull's UK year as City of Culture. It's called The Culture, a farce in 2 acts. James is well known for his razor-sharp observation and has been interviewing us all over the last few months. As you can imagine, I'm both looking forward to this and slightly terrified. But it's not to be missed, and what better way to sum up our year than through art itself. James joins us today and will be earwigging on all of your conversations. In October, Hull 2017 and Aarhus European Capital of Culture 2017 will both host the work of the extraordinary company Blast Theory in a major new co-commission. Renowned internationally, Blast Theory have been making pioneering interactive artworks for over 25 years, bringing together the very best in film, installation, gaming and technology. Called 2097, We Made Ourselves Over, it asks us to imagine our city in 80 years' time. Every phone box across the city will ring. If you pick up a phone, you will begin an unforgettable journey into the future. Additionally, you can catch pop-up screenings of these extraordinary new sci-fi films shot in Hull and Aarhus, or download the app to talk to the rulers of the future city. 2097 is a unique co-production presented by KCOM and has been informed and inspired by residents in both cities and experts from a broad range of backgrounds, including climate change, smart cities, and community activism. In November, with our partners at the Deep, it says here, indicate deep. They don't trust me, you know, at all. Groundbreaking company Curious Directive will present Frogman. On the Great Barrier Reef in 1995, a frogman hovers, looking for traces of a missing child. Time is running out. A coming-of-age supernatural thriller, this show is a world first. Experienced through virtual reality headsets. It's already wowed audiences in Brisbane and Edinburgh, our co-commissioners, and now it's our turn. Hull's own Ensemble 52 return with the Heads Up Festival with its second iteration this year of brave and brilliant performance. Showcasing the best in internationally renowned and locally curated talent, this season's programme, thank you very much, Ship, will include, is very excited, will include a heady mix of performance, panels and workshops. From Motor Theatre's unflinching look at the myths of modern love with Jane Fritz's Ross and Rachel, Vic Llewellyn and Kid Carpet's anarchic and moving The Castle Builder, to Kirsty Harris's fabulously creative Almost Always Muddy. And for young audiences, Ensemble 52's brand new work, Pale Blue Dot, along with new work by Luca Rutherford and Alan Williams. This is a chance to experience some of the most innovative works in the UK in association with the Battersea Arts Centre. We are now just days away from the Royal Ballet Gala opening of the Hull New Theatre following its multi-million-pound refurbishment. Starting as it means to go on, the theatre welcomes a world-class programme including a brand new play by our own John Godber, The Kings of Hull, which follows 3 generations of the King family, bonded by love but divided by rugby, a river and sibling rivalry, as they experience every up and down going, from the highs of a lottery win to the bottom bunk in Hull Prison. The UK's foremost narrative ballet company, Northern Ballet, brings The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas, the story of an unlikely friendship that develops during the devastation of Nazi Germany. Through dance, this heartbreaking story is driven by themes of childhood curiosity, innocence and freedom. The National Theatre returns to Hull after the brilliant Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, with their acclaimed version of Jane Eyre, followed in November by Ibsen's equally lauded classic masterpiece Hedda Gabler. Opera North returned to the city with The Little Greats, the ultimate in iconic Italian opera, all the explosive power and energy of opera packed into a festival of double bills, including 2 musical theatre classics, Trouble in Tahiti by the great Leonard Bernstein, and Gilbert and Sullivan's Trial by Jury. The programme includes a Saturday matinee perfect for families, L'Enfant et le Sortilège by Ravel, where the objects in a naughty child's room come to life. Finally, in our theatre season, 2 pieces of work inspired by the same story, that of Lillian Bilokka. Over the past 6 months, up to 50 Hull women called Lil's Lasses have gone out into the city to share and promote the story of Lillian Bilokka. Dressed up with headscarves and handbags, their flash-mobbed Humber Street Gallery put on a silent march in Hull city centre, appeared at Hessel Road heritage events and across major shopping centres and the streets of Hull. They're promoting a play called Lil, written by another Hallensian, Val Holmes, and performed at Jubilee Central in November. The play follows Lil's own story over a brief period in 1968 where the nation's media took the Hessel Road campaigners' message to the world, even disgracing the European campaigners at one point. The play is presented by the youthful poet.
Today has firstly been about a celebration. Today has firstly been a celebration about what has already been achieved since Hull first bid to become a city of culture. But it's also about looking forward to the future. We now have the detail of what we can expect for the final season 4 of Hull 2017. Today's message, though, has been anything but final. The message today is that Hull's cultural journey is set to continue.
Not hearing anything.
Is it because I've not put that in right? There you go. Are you hearing it now?
Just check. You can insult me as much as she likes. Tell us the story of Lillian Bilokka.
That's on. Sorry.
Class Movement Library in Salford. Brian Levy was having a book launch there of his book, The Headscarf Revolutionaries, and I was away in London, so I couldn't make it. And I just thought, what is this Headscarf Revolutionary? So I just sort of tapped it in, the search engine like you do, and then all this information came up. And I'm an associate artist, I think that's the title, at the Royal Exchange, and I've sort of been promising a play for quite a long time. And this came up, and I thought, this sounds fascinating. So I sort of went to Sir Frankham at the Royal Exchange and said, I've got an idea. And she said, well, it's set in Hull. And I went, well, does that matter? And she said, well, we are Manchester, and maybe why? Because I didn't realise at the time that the City of Culture was about to happen. She said, why don't we approach Hull? It seems the perfect place for it. So that's sort of how it sort of came about. And we had some meetings, and they said they were interested in theory, and then would I come up with a bigger and a better idea, please.
And for those who don't know, can you briefly tell us what the story is?
Well, what I wanted to do was, which obviously I was very conscious about, was telling, this story, and it's going to be told brilliantly, in a different part of the story again. But it's been told so many times in this city, fantastically. And I thought, I don't want people to think, an outsider's coming in to tell our story. So what I wanted to do was tell it as an outsider looking in, and what reaction I had to it. So that's what it is really. It's about me looking into the Hessel Road community. I did quite a lot of research up there, and just the initial sort of emotions I had from interviewing people. I met Mary Denness and Yvonne. I spoke to Virginia Mackenzie, who's of Lillian's daughter. But what really spoke to me was sort of the epicness of it, and there was something very Greek about it, and it kept coming about this Greek chorus. And because Lillian was this amazingly beautiful sort of woman with this, you know, from what I can gather, a fantastic presence. And I always said there's something she looks like she could have been in a Fellini film. You know, so it was this sort of, this chorus, this Greek chorus, and her lament, really. I mean, you know, I felt what had happened. Why do, when a woman puts her head above the parapet to help, majority of the time, why does she get punished for it? So that's, you know, that's my view on it. So that's what the story's about, really.
And you've chosen not to, well, we've chosen not to stage it in the theatre, and why? Well,
because I felt it needed to be an event, really. And, you know, without being self-deprecating, I've written one play before. Now, that was, for me, it was about writing a night out. I wrote a play called Beryl about another amazing Yorkshire woman called Beryl Burton, who was a cyclist in the sort of 50s and 60s. And for me, it was about getting people into the theatre who may not have went. I mean, my biggest achievement with Beryl was West Yorkshire Play said 30% of the audience had never been to the theatre before, and I thought, I don't care what anybody thinks about the writing. That, to me, was, I'm very proud of that. So, and what we felt about the Guildhall was this was a building built on the life and death of the trawling community, you know, but it was this grand sort of exclusive building. So it was about people being able to enter into there and sort of take over it, really, and a haunting of the trawling community, sort of, you know, running riot through the Guildhall.
So we're taking over the Guildhall?
We're taking over the Guildhall, yeah. And take some big bags and you can nick some of that fancy stuff they've got in there. Yeah. So I didn't say that.
If anybody's never been in that building, it is quite an incredible building, and this production will enable us to make an extraordinary journey through it. I mean, historic stories often speak of modern concerns. Is that true for your play?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what struck me as well was sort of the feudal system of the trawling community. Again, I'm very nervous here today talking about this because it is, you know, because I'm from Bolton. I'm not an insider, and you know, so this is one of the things I've written that I'm more nervous about than anything. But again, it's only my impressions of it, and I think sometimes it is good to be able to reflect that back. But it was, yeah, about the feudal system of the trawler community. It felt, you know, obviously there's a lot to celebrate, but the harshness of it, and just politically where we are today, it felt what happened to Lil, what happened to the women, what they were trying to achieve, is still inspirational for where we are politically and socially today.
And there's a community company as part of the performance. Is that important for you, that local people were involved?
Oh, extremely important, you know, that we had local people involved. I mean, yeah, I mean, and that was a big joy that we will be able to have, you know, this great group of people who will be able to add so much energy to it. And obviously they've got so much knowledge and wisdom. But yeah, I think that's the way forward for me now for theatre, is being able to incorporate, you know, it's about reaching out to the community, and it makes it inclusive, that people can get involved. So. And
there's some great opportunities to still be involved in that. So, you know, you can, there's going to be more auditions on the 9th of September, so if you are interested, men in particular, so if you fancy being a 3-day millionaire, invading the Guildhall, there will be auditions on the 9th of September. You can just look at Hull Truck Theatre website, and there's an application form there. Do get involved in this. It's going to be an extraordinary event. Just really wrapping up now, there's a lot of talk today about culture as an agent for change. Do you think it does that, or more importantly, is doing that, especially in the north?
I think the north is really exciting at the moment. You know what you look. I mean, okay, I'm based in Salford, so you know what's happening in Manchester, but what's happening here and the legacy of Hull City culture. You know what I mean? Like you say, it doesn't just finish at the end of this year. This carries on, you know, till they hand the baton over, and then, but then Hull always has an amazing sort of artistic heritage. You know, but I just think, you know, we've got to fight for it, obviously, because of the cuts, what's happening, again, what I say, politically. But I think you just see people's spirit, that people wanting it is making a change. You know, that is our weapon, isn't it? It's our education, it's our arts. And if they take that away, then we are in massive trouble. But, you know, it's so inspiring to be here today, to see what's happening. I think, you know, the North are really getting on board, you know, about the importance of arts. And it's not about everyone becoming an artist. It's just about the inspiration and it's seeping into everyday life. It's just about experience and so it's very, very important.
You see that the passionate and commitment behind those thoughts there, that really does translate itself into the extraordinary last testament of Lillian Bilokka. It's been a complete pleasure speaking to you, Maxine, and thank you for coming.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark and Max. I also want to point out that when we walked into the leader's office and said, we need to chuck you out of your entire building for 5 weeks, without hesitation, he said yes, which is pretty cool. So it's a relief, that's right, yeah. So as ever, brilliant stuff. Tickets for the last testament of Lillian Bilokka go on sale at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Working with the British Council and the Royal Institute of British Architects, we are excited to present a hall for Hull with Trois Points de Vue, which some of you will have seen in the press already because this time we have planning permission. Yay! Explore and interact with a monumental hypo-style room open to the sky and the immediate surroundings in Hull's Trinity Square as part of our Look Up programme. A response to the historic heart of the city, this installation from architect-artist collaboration Pezo von Elrichhausen and Felice Verene features 16 columns, each open on one side, challenging the way we think about architecture in the city and inviting new ways and imagination of the use of public space. Our 10th Look Up commission will see a new artwork experience inspired by the deep. Created in response to the architect's vision for an expressive building, this piece will transform the deep and its riverside setting through light, sound and digital media. The 4 shortlisted artists for the Turner Prize 2017 will exhibit their work at Ferrens Art Gallery from September, with the overall winner announced in early December. Through genres such as portraiture, landscape and still life, Hervin Anderson, Andrea Butner, Labaina Himid and Rosalind Natashibi explore how art is able to respond to political and social upheaval, and consequently the exhibition promises to be compelling and thought-provoking. We will be inviting everybody to be part of a fresh conversation about art through the Turner Prize Public and Schools programme, hands-on workshops, debate and discussion, curator tours and an open invitation to respond to the exhibition. Share your views and hone your opinion. We say, whatever you think about the Turner Prize, you're right. An exhibition that unites works from J.M.W. Turner with Hull's own whaling collections. Turner and the Whale offers unique insight into Hull's finest artists and the artistic mind of one of the world's most revered landscape painters. On loan from the Tate's National Collection, Turner's 3 rare whaling scenes and 1 maritime scene date from the period where Hull held the title of the UK's largest whaling port, bringing context to our own nationally recognised pieces and providing the perfect complement to the Turner Prize that bears his name. In partnership with the University of York and the Tate, it's supported by the National Lottery through the Heritage Lottery Fund. Presenting works rife with wit and a hint of the absurd, An Eyeful of Rye is an exhibition intent on exploring art cut with a wry sense of humour, very Hull. From droll 18th century caricatures by James Gilray to satirical prints and Simon Faithfull's video of an impossible journey, these works in different media explore our respective positions, the artist as Joker and the viewer as the sharp-eyed observer. They offer an insightful look at the blend of art and comedy that has shaped the government art collection since its inception. The British Council and Hull Culture and Leisure Library Service present a new touring exhibition, The Tool Appreciation Society, for which artist Linda Brothwell explores the connection between tools and our sense of place in the world. How do tools connect us to our families, our homes, and our national heritages? Inspired by the heritage and workers of Hull and South Korea, the Tool Appreciation Society delves into the making, crafts, tools and techniques used in both the City of Culture and one of East Asia's most intriguing countries. Art and science will collide in Surroundings, a multi-platform exploration of the environment, uniting artists and scientists to produce unique, exciting works that explore the environment. Surroundings features everything from photography showcasing the impact of seasonality to choreography inspired by bread baking, with artists including Alhila Papa Rands, Gail Shonkwa and Laura Wilson. Part of Humber Museum's Partnership's 3-year programme of international residencies, commissions and events, curated in collaboration with Invisible Dust. Hull UK City of Culture has partnered with international photography cooperative Magnum Photos to create an exhibition commissioning Martin Parr and Olivia Arthur to explore the culture and creativity of this city. The exhibition highlights the qualities that have made the city stand apart in an unforgettable year. Hull, Portrait of a City, owns the discussion about where, what and how. How might we define Hull? How has culture changed our landscape and regenerated our city? What impact has it had on everything from economy to civic pride? And how do we record it? As stories merge and new ones begin, we start looking to the future and exploring what's next. Along with James Graham's new play at Hull Truck, it's another example of how we're seeking to evaluate our year through art rather than just statistics and reports. Over the last decade, Hull-born documentary photographer Lee Karen Stowe has devoted her photographic practice to recording the personal narratives of female survivors of war and conflict. Depicting torn poppy petals, this powerful digital, photographic, sound and mixed media installation, Torn, is a stark reminder of the destruction war wages on women around the world, and gives Lee her first exhibition in Hull for some time. An exhibition curated by sculptor Saffron Waghorn, Redefined at 11, unites works created by professional female artists from across the region and beyond, featuring new conceptual sculptures from Waghorn herself alongside photography-focused artists Sarah Daniels and Anna Kirk-Smith, whose exploration of natural history sits at the intersection of art and science, and Adele Howitt, a ceramic experimentalist whose innovative work has graced the Chelsea Flower Show and galleries around the world. Square Peg is ArtLink's year-long disability and diversity arts programme supported by one of the biggest individual grants made by Hull 2017. This season, as part of Square Peg, ArtLink presents Centre of Attention in November, a fascinating exhibition of film photography and bespoke prosthetic limbs that investigates the relationship between disability and fashion. Working in partnership with the Alternative Limb Project and Fly Girl Films, the exhibition is accompanied by a series of artist talks and masterclasses. Alongside the exhibition, artist-in-residence Jason Wisher-Mills will be continuing his series of Hull UK City of Culture 2017 workshops with different communities in the city to create a selection of new work which will form part of Jason's exhibition launching in January 2018. And if you've yet to visit ArtLink on Princes Ave and see their current exhibition, Alien Sex Capsule, make sure you do, it's extraordinary. Sculptor Brian Griffiths has invited a number of his friends, family and colleagues to make a puppet of themselves, a self-portrait, a kind of imposter or impersonator for So He Pulled the Right Levers and You Did the Asking. An exhibition as part fantasy, part social experiment, Griffiths considers ideas and forms of self-presentation where intimate content gets swept along with the impossibly dramatic. The people of Hull and Freetown in Sierra Leone might be separated by thousands of miles, but in How Do You Have a Happy Life, a 12-part video series from Nova Studios, we reveal that they're much closer than you might first think. In discussion with people from two very different cities, each short film looks to uncover the values, people and purpose that make up a happy life, to see whether the things that bring us joy are universal or unique. The films were made before the recent terrible flood, and we all take this opportunity to send our love and best wishes to those affected in our sister city. Literature and the spoken word plays its rightful part in season 4 as we continue to explore this city of language and poetry. Contain Strong Language is a major new poetry and performance festival in Hull, starting on National Poetry Day and featuring national and international poets. Packed with world premieres, gala readings, events and concerts, this first festival, curated by the BBC and Humber Mouth, is a fantastic addition to a rich tradition of spoken word and literature in the city. It will also see the return to the city of Ben Watt and Tracy Thorne in conversation with Simon Armitage, and tickets are on sale now. Writer and political commentator Will Self heads up 7 days of amazing events as Hull's own Literature Festival celebrates its 25th anniversary. Other highlights this year include an exploration of world poets with Blood Axe Books founder and editor Neil Astley, versions of author Laura Barnett, and a Mercury-nominated singer-songwriter Catherine Williams discussing their collaborative novel and album, Songs from the Novel Greatest Hits. A panel discussion with the Royal Society Insight Investment Science Book Prize, and a prolific comedian, Sarah Pascoe, on her book, Animal. There's also an innovative new digital project called How Was Your Day, which gathers experiences of everyday life across Hull's twin cities using conventional and digital platforms to explore Hull as the gateway to Europe and the world. And of course, the return of the extensive children's programme, which this year features the Carnegie Medal winner Sally Gardner, author and illustrator Lee Hodgkinson, and master of fabulous foolery Jarvis. Humber Mouth is presented by Hull City Council and Shane Rhodes, Artistic Director of Wrecking Ball Press. Celebrating the best of international crime fiction, Hull Noir plays host to the prestigious Iceland Noir on their biannual travels from the festival's home city of Reykjavik, one of this year's partner cities. Highlighting Hull's crime fiction heritage from Get Carter author Ted Lewis through to the current crop of top writers working in the city, the festival forges new connections and examines the themes in contemporary crime fiction. Hull Independent Cinema also presents a short season of Ted Lewis-related crime films, including Get Carter, Point Blank, and Dead Man's Shoes, supported by the BFI and Film Hub North. And Hull-based Ensemble 52 present a work in progress of writer David Mark's highly acclaimed first novel, Dark Winter, adapted by Richard Vergette and Nick Lane. It's literature, but not as we know it. Out of This Word brings top writers, poets, playwrights, artists and musicians from the UK to the East Riding to celebrate the power of language. There'll be no shortage of opinion as the newly created Lit Up Festival plays host to Kosi Fanny Tutti, Ben Ockery and Jenny Eclair, whilst the Discovery Stories pop-up theatre production challenges John Godber and a trio of emerging playwrights to reimagine local stories as they tour the region's libraries. Plus, see what happens when Hull-born artist Patrick Coyle takes over one of the UK's busiest leisure centres. And speaking of our partners in the East Riding, they lead off our music programme with Classically Yours, bringing a series of quality live performances to Beverley, Bridlington and Withensea in order to improve access to classical arts. The final season's programme includes afternoon tea with the Manchester Camerata, conceptual choreography from Phoenix Dance Theatre inspired by classic literature, an evening from La Serenissima dedicated to the music of Vivaldi, and a candlelit Christmas concert courtesy of Richard Durant and Amy Kokora and Nick Pym. The 2017 and 2018 Hull City Hall Classics season sees the return of both the Hull Philharmonic Orchestra and the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. To mark the centenary of the Russian Revolution, Hull Philharmonic Orchestra presents an evening of works from two of the country's most lauded composers, featuring Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture and Violin Concerto in D, alongside Shostakovich's Symphony No. 12, the year 1917. And the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra presents a duo of captivating classical performance. From the last night of the proms, it's Union Jacks at the ready for the ultimate British spectacular, conducted by Hilary de Van Wetten. And in Myths and Fairy Tales, conductor Alexander Shelley leads a spectacular rendition of Tchaikovsky's Sleeping Beauty Suite and Rimsky-Korsakov's colourful Scheherazade. Award-winning singer-songwriter Helen Yeomans brings a specially adapted version of the critically acclaimed One World production to Hull as part of Singing City, presenting by Hull City Council Arts Department, a unique show featuring stunning choral music, beautifully interwoven with poetry and spoken word, depicted at the crossroads at which we now stand, exploring themes of industrialisation, finite resources, and the cost of warfare. In a star-studded 25th anniversary celebration, J Night's Hull Jazz Festival presents 20-time Grammy award-winning Pat Metheny, also featuring rare performances by UK jazz outfit Go-Go Penguin, who will perform with their exhilarating new live score to Godfrey Reggio's cult masterpiece Koyanis Katsi, and New York power trio Moonhooch, among others. Now in its fourth year, Hull City Council's Hull Dance Choreographic Prize invites dancers from across the Yorkshire and Humber to present a dazzling display of cutting-edge choreography as they vie for votes of the professional panel and a secret audience vote. And the Hull Comedy Festival returns to celebrate its 10th anniversary, showcasing a variety of acts and performances including big TV names, family-friendly shows, award-winning performers, local and regional comedy talent, and the hottest shows from the UK festival scene. Confirmed performers include Greg Davis, Catherine Ryan, Joel Dummett, Hull's own sketch comedy heroes, the Live Naked Idiots, a City of Culture quiz, the Cagouls, the hilarious Free Fringe, and comedy legend Ken Dodd. Throughout this year, in each season, we've held a weekend festival addressing urgent issues in society through art. We started with the Brilliant Women in the World Festival, continued with Where Are We Now? Who can ever forget Charlotte Church's Pop Dungeon? Not me. And this weekend with Let's Talk About Freedom. For Tell the World, we present Substance, a new festival celebrating the culture, creativity and future of the North. As core to Substance, we'll be presenting a new one-day conference, the Future Forum, inviting the creative industries, businesses, organisations, artists, digital pioneers, social commentators and policymakers and change makers of the future to a day of active debate and discussion. Culture is still far from the agenda of the Northern Powerhouse. It should be high on it, and so we will make it so. Substance will also see venues across Hull City Centre play host to unique installations, a film festival, and the next generation of artworks and performances, including Marshmallow Laser Feast, a colossal wave. Virtual reality is usually a solitary affair, yet in Colossal Wave you can share the immersive experience with others. Witness an explosion of colour after a real ball is thrown from a great height and as it hits the ground to create a huge virtual wave. In our last commission of 2017, Jason Brew's studio will shine an inquiring light throughout Hull's Old Town in a work provocatively entitled, Where Do We Go From Here? A choreographed spectacle of theatre and urban takeover where dormant robots will be awakened through the heart of the Old Town and become curious of their surroundings. The intervention explores the unification of the city's inhabitants and technology through light and wonder, a one-of-a-kind light spectacle which will allow the people of Hull and its many visitors to witness a playful manipulation of light responding to the city's unique geometries, architectures, and embedded history. The robots will communicate through woven networks and act as light guides to create animations and guide us to a bright future. The installation opens on December the 1st and goes through to January. And there we have it. A rich, complex and future-driven season of work that celebrates the best this city and the UK has to offer. It will, I am sure, delight, engage, perplex and challenge us all. But one thing's for sure, you won't miss it. It asks us to tell the world, and this is our ultimate call to action. We have once again reminded ourselves about the importance of art and culture in the life of a city and the life of people. We are lucky that we live in a city where the City Council refuses to cut cultural funding in hard times because they know it's important. But there are those elsewhere who need convincing. So tell your friends, tell your MPs, tell your councillors, tell the policymakers of your experiences this year, your pride in this city and what can happen when a city comes together with one aim, change. As ever, I'd like to thank Rosie, my brilliant chair and sounding board and friend, and the board and trustees for their brilliant stewardship this year. To our 80 funding partners, including Hull City Council, have all joined in with gusto and engaged their workforces in brilliant and groundbreaking ways. And finally, with your permission, to my team, who I'm going to ask to stand up. Can you stand up, please, Hull City of Culture team? Where are you all? And can you show applause? I have truly never witnessed such commitment, talented, passionate and hard-working team as you. Thanks for listening. Everyone back to ours.